In this video, I wanted to cover Berkshire Hathaway. And Warren Buffett is one of the most famous investors of all time, and really a person that I really look up to and look at for a fine example of a person. He's really humble, he's really down to earth, and he's really successful. He's amassed a fortune over his lifetime, and he's lived to the age of 94 and continues to talk to investors. He has really been a big asset to all investors, especially value investors that follow his type of investing. So I wanted to cover his company and go through now that the company has released their financials for 2024 as well as their investor letter. It's really interesting. I wanted to cover some topics in that investor letter. I'm not an investor in Berkshire Hathaway, but I will give you my opinion as whether I'm going to be an investor going forward or I'm going to stay away from this stock. Also point out some things that I think are really interesting about the company, about their investments and what they're doing. Let's take a look at Berkshire Hathaway. Berkshire Hathaway over a long period of time has compounded their returns quite well. Overall, if you look at from 1965 to 2024, their compounding annual rate of return is 19.9%. That's pretty darn incredible. Looking at the last 10 years, Berkshire Hathaway was able to beat the S&P 4 out of 10 years. Most recently in 2024, it just beat the S&P by half a percentage. Nice job. 2023 did not quite beat the S&P, it actually lagged it. 2022, Berkshire actually made money or appreciated while the rest of the market really tanked. And in 2021, it beat the market again. So in the last 4 years, it beat the market soundly 3 out of 4 times. But previous to that, it did lag the market quite a bit, especially like in 19. It was way behind the market. So it's interesting to see that overall, long-term wise, they really beat the market. What I find encouragement is even the great Warren Buffett and the great Charlie Munger had years where they did not keep up with the S&P. So you don't have to be perfect in this game of investing to make a lot of money. And the evidence is in how much money Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger amassed. Berkshire Hathaway is a $1 trillion market cap company, and their overall revenues are $370 billion. Overall, their forward P is 25, which is right there with the S&P. It's a little bit high because they're not a high growth company, as I'll show it later. Not a lot of analysts cover this stock. I don't think anybody wants the pressure of putting a price target on Berkshire Hathaway. So there's only 2 analysts that are willing to do it when this is one of the most famous companies in the world. I can understand that. Now, when we look at their performance or their financials, I should say, and they just released their financials for 2024. It looks like Stock Analysis hasn't updated the December 31 numbers, but just to kind of give a high level and kind of a long-term view, their growth in the trailing 12 months is not that great. It's about 6%. 2023 it was a little better at 21%, 22 at 9%, and so forth. They had a down year in 2020, probably because of COVID. So it is a grower, but it's single digit, and that's where the company's at. Now, Berkshire Hathaway owns a lot of businesses outright, and the businesses are kind of eclectic, in my opinion. They own things like insurance companies, and at the same time, See's Candies and an RV company. And this eclectic mix, I think, very well run companies, but I wouldn't necessarily find those businesses to be very desirable for me. Just stating my opinion out there. But Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway have made it work. Not really a high growth company, and just wanted to put that out there. When I look at the statement of cash flows for Berkshire, I see that operating cash flow has gone down from 23 to 24. It really did come down. This is for the full year of 2024. And the CapEx number is quite high. So once we net out the CapEx from operating cash flow, we end up with about $11,600,000,000, which is a little bit low. It's I certainly can't get to the valuation of $1 trillion using this cash flow. I think the value of Berkshire, the brand is humongous. A lot of investors, especially older investors, really trust in this company for good reason. Their compounded rate of return has been awesome. But using my technique that I'm going to stick to, I've got my recipe for success. I have a very good return, compounding year after year, building my wealth. So $11.6 billion is the cash flow. And probably I can get to a $300 to $400 billion market cap, well below the current market cap of $1 trillion on Berkshire. Now, something that gets reported quite often is how much cash and short-term investments Berkshire is holding. They're holding $330 billion of cash and short-term investments. And that's a big amount. You think about the market cap of the company, it's $1 trillion market cap. So 33% of the value of the company is in cash or short-term securities. That's a big number. Now, it's not necessarily, a pattern that I'm going to follow, which is, let me liquidate a bunch of my assets. As you saw, even the great, Berkshire Hathaway hasn't beat the S&P every year. And I would say that some of their investments may not pay off this year. It's principally Apple. I think Apple as an investment is not an investment that I want to make. And as I've covered on my channel, I think that stock is very well liked, but I think priced too high, and they are having a lot of struggles. And other investments that they make, I don't believe in, like Coca-Cola. I think Coca-Cola is a great brand, but it's a beverage company, not very profitable, very valuable because a lot of investors like it and it's been around for 100 years. But I'm just not really a believer in beverage companies, and that's my choice. So I think the cash position that Berkshire has, it does have an influence on the market where they're not seeing investments that are worthy of their dollars. Totally understand. So I'm building up my cash position, but I'm nowhere near 33%. I'm at 4%. I'm trying to build it to 10%. And I'm comfortable with my position on cash. For the time being, I'm going to build it up to 10% and go from there. But it's really interesting what Berkshire is up to. I'm not sure what deal they would make next. I think the market is really expensive, the stock market. And I could understand why they're pausing, they're investing, why they've been selling shares in some of their big holdings. Let's take a look at their portfolio. So the most famous holding they have is with Apple. This has been a big success for the company. And Apple this year is underperforming. It's down for the year to date for 2025. And I wouldn't invest in Apple. I wouldn't invest in American Express either, but Berkshire Hathaway's made that work. Congratulations. Now, I have been an investor in banks. I've invested in Citibank most recently. I made a lot of money on JP Morgan. So I understand banking. I'm good with that. They made a lot of money on Bank of America. And they are reducing their stake in Bank of America, which is interesting, which frankly, that doesn't have an influence on me. I'm not adding to my position of Citibank. I think I'm good with my position. I'm not going to add to it. Coca-Cola is noted. Chevron, I am a Chevron stockholder. I'm reducing my shares of Chevron. Just the exposure to energy. Energy has underperformed for the last 2 years, and I don't see it getting any better, which leads me to Occidental. Berkshire's in Occidental. They're going to have a lot of exposure to energy, which again hasn't been all that great. Moody's has been a brilliant investment on their behalf. Kraft is a long-time investment for them. I've been, I've analyzed Kraft. I don't like the business. I think they don't make enough money, and the stock hasn't really done well. Chubb underperformed, but has got great value. I'm buying into Chubb. I'm an investor in Chubb. Really like that stock. I'm not familiar with DaVita. Kroger, I'm an investor in Kroger, and really believe in the company. Really well-run company. VeriSign is on the board here, and I'm actually going to take a look at VeriSign. It's come up a couple of times over the last couple of weeks. So I want to take a look at it. That's a software company. And just kind of scanning below, they own some Visa, Amazon. I'm an investor in Amazon. And Ally, which is automotive financing. And then Citigroup, they're Citigroup, but they reduced their stake by 73%. So maybe I got to take a look at my Citigroup stake, because somebody that knows banking is Warren Buffett. He really knows banks. So I think I'm going to take a look at my Citibank holdings and see if maybe I want to lighten up my share count. So should I buy shares in Berkshire or not buy? And the answer is I'm not going to buy any shares in Berkshire. When I look at the company, I see that they are hugely successful, which is great. But my strengths are, where I've had experiences in life and where I've been employed. And I've been in the software industry for a long time. So I know software and I know related technologies. I've also worked with a lot of clients that gave me a bird's eye view of industries. And as an accountant, I've worked in pharma, I've worked in oil and so forth. So I use those experiences to kind of lead me to companies that I think I can really understand and make great investments in. Berkshire is kind of, again, a collection of companies, and some of these businesses they have, I just don't like See's Candy, retailer of chocolate. It's like, man, I'm not excited about that. Coca-Cola, I'm not excited about that. There's a variety of investments they've made that I'm just not excited about. But over the years, I've taken so many lessons from Berkshire, investing in insurance, patterned myself behind what they've done with insurance. They've been brilliant with insurance, and that's one lesson I've taken. So I'm going to keep studying how Buffett's done it and Charlie Munger have done it, and try to draw out those lessons to become a better investor. So that's my review of Berkshire Hathaway. It's just a great, legendary company. They released their financials, and they will be doing an earnings call, I think, at the end of next week. They also have a big investor meeting in Omaha, Nebraska at the beginning of May. I think shareholders are invited if they want to travel to Nebraska. It's a really neat gathering from what I've heard. I wouldn't mind doing that someday, but probably not this year. I'm kind of busy. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video on Berkshire, and would love to see your comments on what you think of Berkshire Hathaway. Thanks for watching.